The show is about to begin.
It is set for this 3-2, and Moreno hits it in the air to left center field. Tavares and Carter on the move. That ball is gone! That's hooked to deep left field, and Mitch Garver has gotten the Rangers on the board.
Game 2 recap time. World Series Game 1 was like, are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here? Diamondbacks Rangers is shipping out to Arizona now, but first, Braun here with Jason Kipnis and Brock Holt for the World Series Game 2 FT Postgame Show, live.
You are now listening to Foul Territory. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Postseason Brockstar, to your first FT postgame live. As you can see, Kipnis not here yet. We're told maybe soon, so real talk, we'll keep you posted. But that was a good old-fashioned beatdown by the Diamondbacks in Game 2. Brockstar, we'll get to Merrill Kelly in a sec. I was on a Texas radio station this morning, and they were like, you think it's over? I'm like, no, definitely not.
No chance.
And I said, even if the Rangers dust the Diamondbacks in Game 2, I still don't think it's over. And meanwhile, it's 1-1. And yeah, again, we'll get to the pitching in like 60 seconds, but the Diamondbacks put up 9 runs tonight.
16 hits. Complete ass whooping by the Diamondbacks. Yeah, I want to see more games like last night, man. I want to see walk-off homers. I want to see one-run games. The Diamondbacks are good, man. They're a good baseball team. They play baseball. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They steal bases. They're pitching right now. Their bullpen, obviously gave it up last night, but they're a pretty scary team right now, and they're gaining confidence as this series, this postseason and this series goes on. I mean, they're a scary team right now.
Tommy Pham goes 4 for 4, and he had a couple big home runs for them, but he was in a pretty big skid overall. It was 3 for 29. And then he comes into this game and he's just on fire. Ketel Marte is kind of the opposite of that. He sets the record, or breaks the record now, 18-game hitting streak in the postseason. And when he got that knock, he's like, give me the baseball, let's go. So props to him. I mean, he's been like the perfect franchise player for the Diamondbacks because he also doesn't cost as much as most of the franchise players on other teams. And then the big thing about this offense and really the brand of baseball this team plays since day one of the season is that they have molded the organization and what they're looking for towards the new rules and a style of ball that goes against a lot of what other teams do. Brock, do you enjoy seeing this type of baseball where there's bunts, there's aggressive base running, obviously there's stolen bases, but it's not just that. It's breaking for home on a ground ball where maybe some others wouldn't, right? Testing some outfield arms, just putting pressure on constantly. And we know there's no pitcher in the world that's like, you know what I love? Runners on. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, especially when they can run like the guys on the Diamondbacks, right? Like these guys fly. I mean, Evan Longoria bunted tonight, 30, he just turned 38. He threw down a sac bunt. I think he was trying to surprise some people and go for a hit, but he laid the bunt down. They're fun to watch, man. And I've said it on this show before. Torey Lovullo is one of my favorite people in baseball. And I think he's the perfect guy to lead that team, lead that organization. And like I said, they're scary right now. I'm rooting for the Rangers, obviously, because I grew up a Rangers fan. And I got some buddies on the team and most recently played for the Rangers. But the Diamondbacks, they scare me. They scare me with the way they're playing right now.
Hey, if Merrill Kelly does that, they got another dub in their pocket at some point. I mean, all the pitches working, especially the changeup. Let's go over our player of the game.
Foul Territory player of the game.
The MLB 9 innings rivals player of the game is Merrill Kelly. So 7 shutout innings, 3 hits, 89 pitches, tons of changeups. Third time through, first 6 batters he faces, third time through, and there's the card in an MLB 9 innings rivals, and we'll tell you more about the game coming up. But third time through, Brockstar, he struck out 5 of the first 6 hitters he faced third time through, which is like, for most front office people, they're like,
you think the analytics said he was going to strike out 5 of his last, third time through, strike out 5. I'm surprised they let him go, But man, he had it all working. I mean, you get a start like that from especially after the loss they had last night, right? Like you needed Merrill to come out and throw a gem. I mean, he gave him a chance. I mean, obviously he could have given up more than one run with the way the offense won the bats, but that's as good as it gets right there.
So in game one, the Diamondbacks pitching staff threw 124 pitches outside of the zone. It's a lot, right? And there are a lot of misses and also just a lot of takes. That was the big part of it. The Diamondbacks walked one time in game one. The Rangers walked 10 times in game one. And Torey Lovullo said, number one, real simple, we're going to throw strikes. We're going to put pitches in the zone, not necessarily over the plate, middle, right? Or even in the middle quadrant. But Merrill Kelly is as good as any pitcher in baseball at working the corners, and we saw that time and time again, especially as the game went on. He became a strikeout pitcher because he was painting the corners with his fastball. And he said right after the game, too, that when he executes pitches, things are going well. When he doesn't, they don't. You know how there's some dudes who can outstuff you even if they don't have their best day? That's not Merrill Kelly, but when he is on, it's this.
Well, he's got just enough movement. I mean, he throws the little cutter that comes into lefties, then he'll front hip a lefty. He's got the really good changeup. I mean, he just has that little bit to get you off the barrel. And like you said, he was all over the corners tonight. And look at that, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts. I mean, he was a strikeout pitcher tonight. But one of the better performances you'll see from a guy. Like I said, man, that was a tough loss last night that they played it out perfect, right? They had the guys they wanted in the game. Adolis comes up, or Seager with the 2-run homer, and then Doley walks it off. Like, that's a tough loss to come back from. And Merrill just put them on his back tonight, and they rode with it and going back home all tied up now.
Also, on the other side, let's say you're just a baseball fan and you don't have a team that you're rooting for here. Maybe you're betting on the game tonight, right? And you took the under strikeouts on the K prop for Jordan Montgomery. You had what was called a no sweat bet this evening. He did not strike anyone out. He barely had any swings and misses, which I actually thought was a gutsy performance from him. He didn't have it, and there was fatigue there because the fastball velocity was down a couple ticks for him, especially as the game went on. You just saw low 90s that you usually weren't seeing from him in the past, especially in the postseason. And you would think amped up at home. It's not about that. I think it had to do with a dude who's been starting for a long time now, popping up, several days ago in a relief appearance to help this team get to where they're at. So I think that was pretty obvious. Did you read that too?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think these guys, like, to throw the baseball as many times as they've thrown it, not only in their lives but this season alone. Not a lot of guys get to this point and throw this many more pitches than they're used to. And like you said, you're putting guys in situations that they're not used to being in. And Jordan Montgomery's coming out of the bullpen for the first time in his career, and it's a long season. And obviously the adrenaline helps in games like this, but I'm sure there's some tired arms. There's some tired arms in the starting rotation and in the bullpen, and I thought Jordan gave him a chance to win. It just the offense couldn't put anything together against the guy on the other side. So a well pitched game, well played game by the Diamondbacks, and like I said, I'm glad it's going back 1-1. I'm trying to get to 7. I'm trying to watch 7 games. I want to watch as much baseball as I can.
I think you've got a pretty good shot. Have played well on the road too. I mean, we saw it in the ALCS, where also even go back to the wild card round. They didn't have any home games. They had to win 2 out of 3 in Tampa Bay. They took 2 pretty easily, especially the second game. Yeah, you needed to win 2 games in Houston in the ALCS. They took those. But back on the Diamondback side, yeah, Aaron in the chat right now, it says 7 of the 9 runs that Diamondback scored were with 2 outs. Demoralizing, yes. I also noted that it was the 8th inning, 1 out. Alek Thomas strikes out. It was the first time they struck out in this game. I mean, how often do you get into the middle of the 8th inning before you see a punch out from a team? And they've been really good on that front for the entire season. They've been a good contact hitting team, but that's ridiculous to be able to put that together and not have a few swings and misses in an at bat to get through like that. So give him credit.
Yeah,
I mean, this
yeah,
team is
absolutely.
the definition of pesky.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of who they've been, right? I think they struck out last night more times than they normally do. So that was probably a point for them going into the game is, hey, we got to kind of move away from our game, the way we play. Let's try and get back to having good at bats and putting the ball in play, and it worked for them tonight. Obviously, I mean, 16 hits, 9 runs. I mean, they were all over the bases. So, and those two out runs, 2 out hits that you think you might be out of it, and you get a couple more with 2 outs, that'll kill the team on the other side.
So where are we at? I mean, how do you feel 2 games into this series? Now, the Rangers are still the favorites. Not that that really means much in a postseason that's full of March Madness style upsets. But, I mean, what do you think? Now this series heads to Arizona for 3 games. Yeah, I feel like this one, more than any, has such legit 6 or 7 game status. Really 7, right? I mean, it's hard to envision it not going the distance, even though, yes, Arizona really smacked them tonight. I do think the Rangers' bats will wake up again. I mean, the Diamondbacks are executing pitches well, and they definitely changed their approach. But a lot of this just had to do with Merrill Kelly shoving for them. They got to the bullpen finally for the Diamondbacks, which hadn't happened in a while, especially the 2 high leverage dudes at the back end, right? Ginkel was great again last night in game 1, but Sewald got touched up by Corey Seager. I just have a hard time seeing the Rangers offense be held down for a long time,
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think anyone who's not a real legit Rangers fan, real legit Diamondbacks fan wants to see 7 games. I told all my buddies are Rangers fans, right? And I'm like, I want to see 7, man. I want to see as much baseball as I can. I want every game to be 1 run, and they're all nervous, right? I'm like, I want to see 7 games as long as I'm not playing in the game, because then that butthole gets a little tight. That you can get in the 7 games, but yeah, I think that the Rangers are going to score runs, and for me, it's about pitching for them. If they can limit the Diamondbacks and let their offense do what their offense does, I don't see this series not going to 7 games, and as baseball fans, that's as good as it gets.
So, Brock, we'll talk Scherzer and Fott matching up in game 3 in a sec. I'll mix in some questions. Anyone else in the YouTube chat, if you have some, we'll get to at least 1 or 2 here. So I'll start with Kyle Bruno said, it's more of a statement, but we can react to it. He said, Diamondbacks winning the World Series would give owners more reasons not to spend big money in free agency. Yes, a little bit, but I still think, if you pick up stars, it increases your chances. The Diamondbacks do seem like quite an outlier versus in years past. Also, it's not bottom of the barrel payroll like the Orioles, which did a complete, tank job for 6 years and, then built themselves back up through the draft. The uniqueness about the Diamondbacks, and we went over this on Foul Territory Daytime Show the other day, is how many trades they just flat out won, right? And the most recent one is the most glaring. Gabriel Moreno had a home run tonight. Lourdes Gurriel did some nice things this evening too. They picked both of them up for Dalton Varsho of the Jays. Varsho's not a bad player. He's kind of an average ball player, at least right now, through his first, I think, 2 or 3 years in the bigs. But Gabriel Moreno is already superstar status. He is your number 3 hitter on a World Series team. He's a top 3 probably already catcher in baseball. He has the hit tool. He hits homers. He can go both, to all fields. Not much not to like from him. And you often see a franchise player that is a catcher can lead you to places like this. So I'm not sure. I still think most owners and most strategies in baseball are not going to change a ton. I think there's still more of the super bottom of the barrel teams that look at the Rays and want to be like them. I always talk about that. I think the Diamondbacks are a bit of a unique case. They also have gone for it at times when I think other teams didn't think they would. I think the last time was, I want to say 2019, where they ended up, I think, like a game or 2 short, I want to say. But they actually had a pretty similar win total. I'll look.
Well, and the Diamondbacks have spent money. They signed Greinke that year. No one thought he was going. They signed Greinke. They signed Mad Bum. They've spent money, but the Diamondbacks, they have good players, like you said, Scott. they've won some trades. They've gone out and got some players that they wanted. But they have good players. Like Corbin Carroll, he's a superstar. Gabriel Moreno, he's a superstar. They got him in a trade. They drafted Corbin. They signed him to a, good deal for Corbin, but right now, I mean, obviously he's probably going to lose some money at the back end of that thing if he keeps doing what he's doing. But they're a smart organization, and yeah, I think there's always going to be the teams that go out and spend. There's always going to be the teams that try and play it at the bottom of the barrel, and they don't try. But I think you're always going to have the teams that want to spend. Then you're going to have the middle teams who do a little bit of both, and then you're going to have the teams at the bottom that just really don't give a shit.
Yeah. By the way, the Rangers obviously are the opposite of that, of anything that anyone's talking about. I mean, they have spent as much as any team over the last several years, and they're really reaping the benefits of that. You're seeing so many dudes that they picked up. I know Semien's had a really tough postseason, but he's been a rock for them. Super solid, plays every day, all-star during the regular season. Corey Seager's a top 3 hitter in the sport right now. I mean, if there's no Ohtani, he's the MVP. And if he doesn't miss the 6 weeks, who knows what things look like for him during the regular season. And also, who cares? I mean, if you look at what he's done in the postseason, it's amazing. They've done a little bit of everything, but for them, so let's push it forward. And speaking of spending money in pickups, they trade for Max Scherzer at the trade deadline. They haven't gotten what they wanted out of him. This has not been an ideal year for Max. He comes on this show pretty frequently, and he'll be the first one to say that. But, he's getting up there in age, and the main thing is his slider at times is not there this year. And when that's the case, it's just not good results. When it is there, he still has himself pretty close to vintage Max. So we'll see. Now that he's got a little more innings under his belt since he came back from the injury, which I'm sure we're going to find out he came back pretty damn early because a lot of people didn't think he was going to come back at all. Let's see what he looks like now in a World Series game where it could really swing the series if they can pick up a Game 3 and what's going to be a loud, crazy Arizona against Brandon Pfaadt, who just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a rookie.
Yeah.
His stuff is sick, right? Like, he was hyped because I'm a big prospect guy. He was hyped. He comes up, and there was a lot of inconsistency from him and command issues, really, where he was leaving some pitches over the middle. And it doesn't matter how good your shit is. Like, if there's too much middle from you, it's going to get hit in the big leagues. And it did. And he was giving up a lot of homers. They sent him back down. He comes up. And, I mean, in terms of stuff, he might have the best stuff on the team. So it's going to be a great matchup. Super unique.
Yeah, if not for him, it might be Rangers-Phillies in the World Series. I mean, with the two outings that he had. But, yeah, like you said, I like the fact that Max has had two starts since coming back. I'm a little nervous about the cut that he supposedly has on his finger.
Yeah.
But he's so intense, man. I had a chance to play with him for the second half of COVID season in Washington, and I mean he's wild, and he gets pumped for his start days. So you can imagine that Game 3 tied 1-1, Mad Max on the bump. He's going to be ready to go. So I feel like he's going to give him a chance. But I think it's going to be another good matchup between, the old veteran and the young rookie, and I think it's going to be whose offense can get that big hit. And like you said, Semien needs to get going a little bit for the Rangers. I think when he's going, that whole offense kind of runs a little bit better. But obviously they kept Seager down tonight. They kept Doley down. So get Semien going, get Semien on base for those guys, and I think the Rangers have a good shot.
They've got a game plan against Semien right now, and it's been the whole postseason. They're just pitching him outside, and he's a pull hitter, and he can't get to pitches outside right now, and he's chasing them too. So, all right, I got a few questions for you. 2 are for the whole group, for fans. So actually, I'll start with one that the YouTube chat can answer on, and then we'll talk about it at the end. But which T-shirt you like better, because it is Halloween for some people, even though it's technically not the day yet. Some people are out. So go ahead, show them what you got. I got the John Fisher Cell shirt that goes up against your Dunder Mifflin tee. So
Dunder
see what
Mifflin.
people like. Mine's a little more baseball.
Greatest
Yours
show,
is pop culture status.
greatest
Obviously.
show of all time.
Worst show of all time. John Fisher and the A's.
Yeah, the Oakland A's.
So it's a great
The Oakland
matchup,
A's.
right?
Yeah, brutal.
Ask Trevor May. They wouldn't give him
he'll
a seat
tell you.
if you check
Yeah, he'll tell
that clip out from Foul Territory. So let's get some answers in the chat on that. I got one question for you that you can personally answer. What are the plane rides like? So you're going from Arlington, Texas, or Dallas, right? This is where they'll go from there to Phoenix, both teams. You've been there. You've been kind of in both plane ride situations, right? So what's going on there? Like, are dudes talking, chilling, doing their same thing, right? Like the game's over. It's 1-1. It's not like you got smacked in 2 games.
Yeah. No, I think obviously the Diamondbacks feel good. I think if you would have told the Diamondbacks you go in, you split, you go home tied up, you're feeling pretty good. And especially you win the game like you did tonight and you get on the plane, you're feeling pretty good about it. The Rangers, on the other hand, I mean, obviously you would have loved to be 2-0, but we're still 1-1. We've played well on the road, and I feel like this Rangers team has been through so much, like the last couple weeks of the season leading into the postseason, and they've been all over the country on planes, and I'm sure that flight from Seattle to Tampa was a little bit more somber than this one's going to be. They're in the World Series, for Christ's sakes, right? Like, they've got enough veterans on that team, and with Boach leading the charge, I'm pretty sure it's a normal flight for them. But obviously, you would have liked to hop on and be up 2-0 going to Phoenix.
What's it like? Is it card games? Are guys enjoying a cocktail? Do the families travel most of the time on these postseason charters?
Yeah, so we would always our families would get to travel back home with us.
Okay.
So, maybe the Diamondbacks families are traveling back home with them since they're going back to Phoenix. But yeah, I mean, it's just like any other plane flight. You got guys who play cards, you've got guys who play dominoes, you got guys who watch movies, listen to music, do whatever. I was a take a nap guy, so it's just whatever you feel like doing. We had some big money pots and cards with some of the veteran pitchers that we had. So it's just it's whatever, man. It's whatever you feel like doing. Yeah, there's drinks, there's food, but it's a lot better than traveling Southwest. I can tell you that.
Is there a fight for seats like Southwest?
No, there's not. You got your own seat, right? You know where you're sitting.
Yeah.
If someone's sitting in it, there might be a fight, but
I love it. Okay. And lastly, there was a wave that broke out in Arlington. Now, in Arizona, I think it was last round at one point, there was a wave as well. And I think it was actually when the game was in play, like the game was still undecided. This was kind of in the later stages. And it was posted on Foul Territory Twitter. We have our social media team on the scene. And so we were trying to kind of poll people on their thoughts. My personal thoughts, I despise the wave. It's just not for me. I'm not into that. I think it's annoying, and I don't want to get up and do that. I'm trying to watch the game, or even if it's like a chill regular season game and it's a blowout and I'm with people, I just want to talk to them. I don't want to be that guy that's not part of it, but I also just don't enjoy it. For this moment, I mean, whatever. It's a blowout. They had nothing to cheer for tonight, so okay. But it's not for me. It's not my vibe.
not a big fan of the wave. I don't think anybody is a big fan of the wave, really. I mean, I guess if I took Griff, to the game and we started doing the wave, I bet he would like to do it. But
yeah,
I think if you ask any player, what they think about the wave, I mean, it always seems like it just happens at a random time. It's not like it fires everybody up and it's like, okay, here we go. Now we're going to win because we did the wave. So I could do without it, but I'm sure there's some people out there who love it. So
yeah, we're getting some answers in the chat. Obviously, if you're a gamer and you're in the FT chat right now, the answer's probably no. All right, so let's throw to a little clip thanks to our friends at MLB 9 Innings Rivals, player of the game, Merrill Kelly. And if you're unaware of what the game's like, here's a little sneak peek.
We all love the game.
The game. We all put in our blood, sweat, and tears.
We're all pushing
For the same goal. We all want to be the best.
We all want to be the best. The competition never ends.
Never ends. And rivalries are made.
Start your rivalry
Today in MLB 9 Inning Rivals.
Enjoy baseball around the clock. The World Series is here. Download and play MLB 9 Innings Rivals with the link in the description in this episode. It is free to download. Dogs are barking. Dogs are singing. So that means
Tank is ready. Here. Tank is ready for bed.
Exactly. So are we. I mean, this was a snoozer late. It was. And as you can see also, Players' Choice Awards, we have an exclusive show on the Foul Territory YouTube channel November 2nd. It'll premiere at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We revealed the finalists last week. We do FT 1 to 3 Eastern every day. And yes, that show is sponsored by Candy Digital. So look out for that and hit up that website if you want to get a free team pack. But can't wait for Game 3 on FT's YouTube right here. We go live after every single World Series game. Brock, cheers. I had a little bit of an adult beverage in here for this one. It's a Saturday night. Did you
cheers.
You know what
I can't wait for? Jason Kipnis to get on the show. That's what I can't wait for. Where you at, Kip?
He's going to join at like 11:45 Eastern time and be like, well, this is when usually the games end.
Yep.
I'm not. I can't leave here with that.
Is that him? No, that's Brad Pitt. Yeah, Kip, we miss you, dude. Hopefully we'll get him for another one. But this was fun. A little two-man action here. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Questions, comments, concerns, you can hit us up on all the socials and all of that. So thank you for tuning in for the FT post-game show right here on our Foul Territory YouTube channel. We will see you for Foul Territory 1 o'clock Eastern time on Monday, and then on the post-game, and stop doing the wave and sell, John.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do tomorrow? No game.
I'm going to a music festival, actually. Halloween music festival.
You're set. I might try and go golfing, I guess.
Yeah, we got to do something to pass the time. Some people like football.
Boring.
I'm taking a break from that.
The days are boring, man. The days are boring when there aren't any games.
I agree. Well, dude, brace yourself. It's going to be a long, cold winter as usual.
It's going to be a long, cold winter. Winter is coming.
Enjoy these. We got 5 to go. Cheers, everyone. Happy Saturday. Be safe if you're out there for Halloween. We will see you all on Monday. Bye-bye.